to In Hoff We Trust, a Deutschland 83 podcast. We are discussing this evening Season 1, Episode 7, Bold Guard. I'm your host, Chris Mao, and tonight I am with...
Strom. No, I'm Rob Southgate.
Southgate, and the as you'll get to know that we always say names wrong, so because we're horrible. So
I even was looking at it and wrote the right name down and still called him Strom.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
At least you wrote something down. As anybody who knows Rob and I, we don't take many notes, but
no, this
the
one's
notes
pretty
we take
weak.
Don't play into effect. So
well, this time I have an excuse. My jaw was hanging open from about the 30-minute mark until it was over.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Well, we have been talking to see kind of what is going to happen, especially after the kind of throwaway episode. What was that? Number 5 was kind of that middle episode that was kind of wishy-washy, and we didn't know where they were going to go from there. And they went on the last 2 episodes kind of full bore.
Oh, they gave us everything.
Yeah.
What are they going to do in the next episode?
I don't know. What are they going to do after this season's over?
Because I don't know.
It's going to be kind of crazy. So basically what is happening is everything that we have been seeing and that Stasi has been working on is coming to fruition. There's a NATO exercise called Able Archer that's basically just an exercise that NATO is doing to see how, if they could pull off a nuclear war or a nuclear attack.
Right.
If they needed to do it. And, of course, the Eastern Bloc's response is, oh, my God, they're going to bomb us. We need to react. And so this is basically this is World War III that could happen.
Yeah.
This is like the real life, oh, my gosh.
They went, in the exercise, they went to DEFCON 2.
Right.
And, I mean, with everything happening, it's like they were at DEFCON 2. That is right where it happens.
Oh, yeah, that's 2 seconds away from pushing the button and going away. So
yeah, holy.
It was some scary stuff. So so there was a lot of stuff that happened in here. We had speculated in the last our last podcast about the relationship between Steppenstadt and Stamm or Martin. Martin Rausch, whatever, however you want to say it. And they pretty much told us without telling us that Steppenstadt is his father.
Oh, yeah. I think it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, it looks pretty obvious, but it's kind of weird. So basically what happens is Annette goes to Steppenstadt about Thomas in the books, and Steppenstadt shows up at the house that Ingrid and Annette are living at. Ingrid is Martin's, Stamm's mom.
Right.
That's his pregnant girlfriend. And then here comes his quote unquote, and I'm just going to say it's his father, shows up to try and bust. Basically, they were trying to set up this Thomas guy and get him in trouble. And he doesn't show. He goes off and does something else. And then all of a sudden there's this uncomfortable silence where Ingrid is mad at Steppenstadt, doesn't talk to him. And you find out that Steppenstadt was her teacher previously, and it's apparent that they had something going between them. So.
Right. Yeah, well, the whole thing played out, we thought it last episode, the way it played out, I think that it was very obvious, even from when she said, oh, I made her cream and meatballs. It's very good. Right. He's like, oh, yes. I'm like, I
think he said, I know. It's
right.
Man, I mean, it's, there's obviously something going on there. And so, and then.
There's no question. There's no question that Stamm is his son.
Right, because, we mentioned it before that they look alike. They kind of have a similar appearance, and they've done that intentionally, and that's pretty awesome. So,
yeah,
I think that's a great plot twist because, what's going to happen because, I think eventually he's going to come back to East Germany. So what's going to happen? Is he going to let his son get in trouble? Because then you got all this stuff going on with Lorena and...
Holy cow. Holy cow, all this stuff going on. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
So the crux of the episode is... basically forget everything we've had up till now when we talk about, in the other episodes, we're talking about Alex's thing, and we're talking about Tishbeard. Yeah, this all plays into it, but the real money of this episode is Stamm has figured out this is a NATO exercise.
Right.
This thing that the whole time we've been getting clues that, wow, this, Able Archer is happening and like things are heating up, and he figures out it's an exercise, and it's like, it just made all hell break loose. And then he says, Chris, man, I couldn't believe this. I'm going to tell.
Yes.
Your dog can't believe it either.
The dog cannot believe it either. He's excited. So yeah, he completely freaks out and is like, I'm gonna tell the West Germans that you guys think this is real. And then Lorena freaks out. Tishmir freaks out. Steppenstadt doesn't know yet, but I'm sure he's gonna find out and he's gonna freak out. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh man. Could you okay, we gotta talk about this before it goes on.
Go ahead.
Could you believe the scene when he told him?
Oh no, I couldn't. Not at all. I mean,
were you as I kept thinking, okay, he's threatening it. I thought even up to the moment that he was going to pull him in that room and he was going to say something that would make you, like us as the viewer, go, "Oh my gosh, he's telling," but that Edel wouldn't be so out there for Edel, and Edel would have, not known. The fact that he just flips the cards, and then he was right with the way he flipped them, and then Edel's like, didn't even want to hear it. You're the mole. His reaction to you being the mole was unbelievable.
Right, like he couldn't believe that was the case. Like he probably still doesn't believe it. Right. His reaction was almost like that. It's like, there's no way you're the mole. There's no, maybe that's just how delusional he is or how out of it he is.
Do you think he's out of it, or it's just? I mean, he was so consumed with Alex's shenanigans,
yes,
that I don't think he realized what was happening right under his nose. And let's face it, Stam was not necessarily sloppy.
No, so he wasn't careful either. But yeah, I mean, I think you could get away with that. But I think in that moment, he was still kind of stunned about the whole Alex thing.
Right.
That he could, you could have told him, hey, your wife is a man, and he might go, oh, okay, and move on.
And make that face.
And make that face and be like, huh, I mean, it's kind of like that old, the old people just can't believe that somebody young could come up with that or whatever, and he just kind of went, you're the mole. And
that was unbelievable. When he told him, I mean, I'm telling you, I had to stop it and go back because I just couldn't believe what I just saw. I'm sure I looked like Edel through that scene. Like, this can't even be happening. We've got another episode to go.
Right. Yeah, exactly. What's going to happen? Well, I mean, that whole setup is going to be insane because, and also what's happening is, Steppenstadt is playing the ultimate spy. He sends Annette to the concert that Yvonne, who's Edel's daughter, who Stam has kind of been making out with and stuff, and is singing backup for this rock and roll singer. He sends Annette to go to kind of spy on her, and then gives her the picture of them making out. That part is unbelievable as well. That he's still is doing that. I mean, and I'm going to be kind of a jerk about this, but Annette cheated on Stam.
Right. She doesn't have a leg to stand on as far as this goes.
She doesn't, but I mean, he could easily say, hey, I'm doing my job, but now he is driving to Berlin. He knows kind of where he can go, and he's going to run into both of them because the previews say that Yvonne is at Stam's house, and she's going to find a picture of him or something and be like, what the blank is going on here?
Right. So that's going to happen, and I bet it happens just before Stam walks in that door.
Oh, sure. Of course it will. So
as soon as she said, I've got a couch you can stay on, I thought, oh no, this is like his worst nightmare.
Well, that, and
it could be worse. Linda's corpse could be sitting there too.
Yes, she could float up or come over. It would be bad.
And explain this.
Well, it's just gonna obviously let it open where Steppenstadt is gonna come in and say, "See, this is what happens when you mess with us," and then she's gonna go, "Well, you're his father. How could you do that?" Because that's totally setting that up. And
it's all gonna happen. And you know what? Normally when we got stuff figured out, now we've actually not had a lot figured out on this show. I think they've done an excellent job of keeping us guessing. I think we got it all right here, like how this is going to go down. You know what? Completely satisfying. I don't care if we know what's going to happen. I want to see it play out.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And just like this is beautiful. I'll take it.
Well, because and I'm also kind of speculating on what's going on. I think Lorena, am I saying it right?
Lorna? Yeah, the aunt.
Yeah, the aunt is...
Lorna, I think it is.
Lorna is looking for a way out because she's working some guy from Mozambique to get a visa to get out. I think she sees that the writing's on the wall that things are going south here, and I think she wants to get out and protect herself. So does that mean that she's going to take her family? Or does that mean that, could it be the she's going to set the sister and send her to Mozambique, or what's going to happen? Because you know that there's that angle there, that they're all looking to protect themselves.
Right.
So
of course.
they're going to get out because they're all sitting there wondering, when this thing goes south and they're going to figure out that it's an exercise soon, somebody's head's going to roll, and it's most likely going to be Steppenstadt. Even though he did what his boss told him to do, Steppenstadt's going to be the one that's going to take the hit for this. And
you think it's going to be him?
Well, it's either going to be him or the head guy. It's going to be one of the two. Maybe Steppenstadt is smart enough to say, "Hey, this is a report that we translated.
Right.
This is the one that he showed you. So what does that mean? I don't know, but I don't know if he can survive this." So
yeah, I just don't know. I mean, we know where some things are going, but some of the stuff, and the thing that's blown my mind is, where do you go from here?
Exactly.
The fact that his cover's blown, he's going back. It's like, what could possibly be waiting for him, and how does he continue on?
Right. I don't know. I mean, does he go on the run? Does he? He obviously can't do Germany. But he's got a baby on the way. So what's going to happen? I don't know, and I don't know. Does this mean this is a one shot, or does this mean maybe it's a couple seasons? I would hope that it could go on because I really like the show. But maybe
I don't think it's a one shot. I really don't. I think that, like, the great shows, especially something like this, where you think, how can they possibly get out of this? Think about Breaking Bad. At the end of the seasons of Breaking Bad, you're like, there is no way he's not getting caught. There's no way all hell's not breaking loose. And then when they'd come back, it would be completely logical how that all worked out. That was completely mapped out before, they even put pen to paper in the beginning,
Right.
I think that's the same thing here. I think they have, as we've said before, they have a definite timeline they're working within, because when the wall comes down, either the series ends or they go into a completely different type of story. And I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to end the series when the wall comes down, which means we might get 3 to 5 seasons out of this.
Right.
And they have to have it all mapped out. What we're seeing now, I mean, 2 seasons from now, we'll probably be like, God, remember when Stom was a mole? Like, completely, it's a completely different show at that point.
Yeah, is it going to be like the cartoon Archer, where in the beginning he's a spy, and then three years in he's not? So
he becomes a cocaine dealer. Remember when they did Archer Vice?
Yes,
it's going to become Deutschland Vice.
Deutschland Vice. So, or Vice 83. That would be funny. They go to Miami and he becomes Don Johnson.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That would be great. So,
I don't know if it'd be great. I think we'd be amused, but I think that would ruin this show.
Oh, most likely it would be, but it would be fantastic just to see
General Jackson becomes his partner.
Yeah, he's walking around in a Hawaiian shirt with a big cigar and weird sunglasses. He's all of a sudden going to Cuba. That would be great.
Oh yeah, that's exactly where this show is going.
So like, what about that first interaction between Jackson and Alex?
With Alex?
I was like, oh my God, he's going to tear his head off. And then they're just like, okay, we'll just go on. He's like, is this more of your foolishness? And
first of all, when he walked up there and he looks right at Alex, and then he talks to Stom.
Yeah.
That was fantastic right there. But then when he wanted to like lay blame and yell at somebody, right back to Alex.
Yeah.
And Alex just looked like deer in the headlights through that whole thing. That was excellent.
Well, you know what is it? Ludwig, I can't pronounce his last name. The guy who plays the deer in the headlights really, really well.
Oh man, he really does.
He's got that look. He just has that, little like weepy,
kind of innocent, 80s teenager look.
Yeah, no, basically he didn't have anything to do with it. And of course, Jackson's trying to blame him because of what happened. His dad's trying to blame him for what happened just because he is who he is. And that's it. So, you know what? I was kind of surprised that they hadn't kind of tied up some of those loose ends that were dangling at the end of last episode. Like the whole thing with Jackson and what happened. Nothing happened with that.
Well,
you didn't hear anything about.
I think so much else was on
Kramer?
The table.
Right.
This seems like it was the next day. So,
but it wasn't. It said 6 weeks later at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, did it? I didn't catch that. Wow. So they didn't fill us in on what happened with all that. Maybe they'll go back and we'll hear that, or maybe it's like we know all hell broke loose. We know, I don't know. It does seem like kind of weird to jump 6 weeks and not address Kramer's death. The Jackson thing, I could see them not addressing. Right. Because they're going to try to bury this. The Kramer death is a little odd to just gloss over. Now, let's go to the other thing. Tishbeer, so this is 6 weeks later. That means Tishbeer sat on it for 6 weeks before he could tell Alex.
Yes.
Wow.
The whole thing where Tishbeer and Adel are talking, and they're talking about the protest and talking about some other things. That was a great scene, too. Like, Tishbeer kind of summed up the whole season with Alex in that one interview with
Yes, absolutely.
You know your son, you know what he is, your eyes aren't that closed, basically comes out and says, your son's gay. Adel doesn't want to have anything to do with that. But then it also talks about how, he volunteered to be peaceful. He's not peaceful. He is peaceful. It's not just because it's in protest. That's his nature. And Adel was kind of like, oh my God. I don't want to say he didn't understand it, but didn't accept it. But I think Tishbeer really opened his eyes to what was going on. And then, I think that caused a lot of turmoil in him. But then Tishbeer kind of, I hate to say did the right thing at the end, but broke things off with Alex. Number one, he told Alex that he might have AIDS, which was a big thing.
Oh, that was a tough scene.
Which was a tough scene, but then he's also like, we can't be together for obvious reasons.
Right. Man, that was some scene, though. Him confronting him and letting him know was pretty amazing. And when he said, do you have it? He's like, I don't know. So it's been 6 weeks. He's still scared to go get tested.
Yes.
It's not he's being irresponsible. He's scared.
Oh, no, he's scared, and he doesn't, his mortality is going to come into play at some point in time here, I think.
Yeah.
Where he's going to, he might take a bullet for something or do something because of it, but I don't know. But I think he was genuinely glad when Alex stood in that protest line.
Yeah. Oh, I think so, too. I think he genuinely likes Alex. I think there's actual feelings, even though it seems manipulative. But I think that he knows it's over.
Right.
And it has to be for a variety of reasons. But I think we're right. I think we nailed it on the last episode when we said Tishbeer is going to be a carrier, and Alex next season is going to either be dead at the beginning or sick throughout the season.
All right, yeah.
If he makes it to that point, we don't know what this next episode is going to hold.
Right.
We don't know yet if we're going to have characters die, which is possible.
No, absolutely it could be. So, yeah, this could be, when I say one shot, this could be just a one season with
this crew of people. Yeah, like the whole Edel and all that, they could all be gone next season. So they got to do whatever they can to wrap up that story.
Yeah, is this going to be True Detective or American Horror Story where they'll just do something else, like a different version? So
Lady Gaga's in next season?
Yes.
Kathy Bates and Lady Gaga from East Germany?
Yes, no kidding. That would be awesome.
No, it wouldn't. That would be terrible. Kathy Bates would be awesome.
She's great. Yeah, she's fantastic.
Can you imagine her as Fraulein Bates?
That's right, Fraulein Bates with a beard and a bad Philly accent. With a beard and a bad Philly accent, that would be horrible. So,
no, it'd have to be East German accent, and then she'd say East Side.
So yeah, they. I mean, I think in this episode, there was a little bit of action. They upped the intrigue like a tenfold factor because you got all this stuff with Stamm's mom and Steppenstadt and Annette. And then you got all this stuff kind of between Annette and Thomas. You got all this stuff between, I think there's a definite faction in the
Annette and Yvonne. Annette and Yvonne,
it's apparent that Yvonne is out there partying, and it's like she's one of the gang, so she's doing her own thing and really didn't seem to have a care in the world. So there's like all of that stuff going on, and then obviously the stuff with Stamm and then Alex and everything. There's just a ton out there that they have to explain in 42 minutes next week, or not, or just leave or leave it for the beginning.
Right, or there's a lot they can leave on the table.
Right.
Know what I think next week. I actually don't care if they resolve almost any of that. I want to know what happens with Stamm at this point. That's all I really want to see. I mean, yes, all the rest of it is very interesting, and I do want that resolution. But if we got one episode and we got to wait a year to see what happens next, make it all about Stamm on the run and what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah, because I don't know the geography of Germany that well, but I don't think they're very far from Berlin. So, I mean, last time it seemed like they got through pretty easy. Or he got through pretty easily. Is it going to be just as easy for him to get over there again, or is it going to be all messed up? I mean, because he has to get home. That has to be what happens with this.
You've got not only what's happened with him trying to get back over, but with the situation, with this, DEFCON 2 exercise and everything, how's he getting across that border?
Right. Well, I don't know do you think that's going to play into it or not?
I do. I think that's going to cause chaos at the border.
It could. I don't know. I mean, are they just going to let him through? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he has some inside knowledge because he was a guard there. Maybe when he pulls up, his people will extract him and get him back over there. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot to it. So, and I guess the other thing I was kind of going back is, what's going to happen? Does it seem like to you that there's like a big division in the East German intelligence where there's like half of them are like all war happy and the other half are like, wait, we're just trying to survive here. What are we doing? Because that Russian dude, the guy with the glasses, is like, this is all just like an exercise, and everybody's like, no, it's war. And Lorna, whatever, the aunt is very protective too. She's like, no, this is just like an exercise. Even though she did her duty,
right?
She was trying to
dissuade them from pushing the button.
Right.
Yeah, I think she realized, hey, Strom knows what he's talking about, or at least it's worth exploring.
Right. So we'll see. I think there's a lot of intrigue. I mean, to see who sticks around and who leaves and what happens, and because they're sucking in Annette into this espionage game.
Yep,
and
she's joining the club.
Yeah, she's joining the club, and there's a lot. Maybe that's what they go forward with is her. I don't know.
So
maybe that's a possibility.
Let's talk the amazing music in this episode.
Oh yeah. Oh, fantastic. So
this one. The last couple we've said, they've had one peppered here, one peppered there. It's expensive for them to use licensed music. They blew the budget on this episode.
They did. So
this was great. And when White Wedding started up, I was like, this is the 80s song right here, man.
It is one of them for sure. So that and Our Love's in Jeopardy.
Yes.
Jeopardy. That was another 80s song. That was early 80s. Greg Kinn. That was gigantic when that came out.
Huge.
So, and that was like back to back. And then apparently that guy that they talk about being on the road for, I can't even remember his name.
It's Ulu.
Yeah, Udo something. Wrong. He was a legit singer. I mean, he was a legit performer back then.
Yeah.
And so that was his song.
Udo Lindenberg.
In the middle there.
It's Udo Lindenberg.
Udo Lindenberg. I mean,
yeah.
Which was kind of cool. And they actually showed footage of him.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. That was really good. So, and what did they play anything else?
Well, they also sang. I couldn't tell if they were singing Route 66 because it kind of sounded like it, but then they went into Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Yes, it was like
which was bizarre.
It was very weird. It was, and I don't know if that was one of his songs or somebody else's, but yeah, I noticed that. I was like the Chattanooga Choo Choo. I'm like, what are they playing? Is that the Andrews Sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I was like, what? But
once again, in our never-ending references to Young Frankenstein, that's got the great scene when Gene Wilder pulls up. Pardon me, son, is this the Chattanooga Choo Choo? Yeah, Chalk 49. Would you like a shine? No.
We can make all those references. That's great.
Oh man, it kills me.
Yeah, that was kind of I thought that was a good scene when we heard the Chattanooga Choo Choo song where they're like in the car just getting hammered.
Yeah, it reminded me of Almost Famous.
Yes,
it reminded me of that scene when they do Tiny Dancer and they're all in the thing and they're getting high and they're singing, and I was like, this is totally this with the band manager guy right there in the middle of the mix.
Yeah, just like looking over paperwork while everyone else is getting, everyone's partying like crazy. We needed Billy Crudup, and then it would have been a great.
That would have been great.
I'm a golden god. Yes, that would have been perfect. So.
And the one guy who thinks they're going to die yells out, "I'm gay," and then they live.
That's right. Oh well,
that was the worst. And then when the plane lands, they're all like, "Yeah,
creepy."
Yeah, well.
No, we can forget about that, guys, can't we? We all say things.
We all say things. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about through that. Okay, what didn't we talk about? Did we hit it all?
I think we hit it all. Let me take a look and see.
We hit all my notes, but that's because I'm telling you, halfway through, I was taking all these nice notes at the beginning about what was happening. All that became irrelevant at the 30-minute mark when all hell broke loose and all the protest, all that. Like, you just got to touch on it because really the story is Stom admitting it, breaking his code
to
save people. He was a hero. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, he is like he'll be the anti-hero, he'll be the bad guy, but he actually has probably done a lot more to save the world than a lot of other people.
Right.
Hopefully that'll be what happens, because that Lorna, whatever, is going to go, if she doesn't think she's getting the answer she needs, she'll go higher up than that, the creepy guy in a suit that's Steppenstadt's boss. You know that's what's going to happen. That these guys are going to be all like trigger happy, and then someone's going to go above them and say, this isn't happening. Because Moscow, they're thinking there's no way they're going to start a war. I don't think they ever. I don't ever think that the higher ups, especially
they don't want to push that button.
They're not going to press the button.
They all know when that button's pressed, everybody's going.
Yeah, exactly. They know that that's no way to do it, so that's why they have the deterrent. And then, I don't know. I think that at some point they're going to be like, hey, and is this what leads to the downfall of East Berlin?
Could be.
Is this going to be the precipice that, hey, the East Germans aren't going to take this? Their intelligence agency falls apart because of this, and then what goes on?
So I have a theory.
Okay.
I'm thinking that they're going to catch Stom before he gets to that border, or right when he gets to it. They're going to make him be a double agent.
Ooh,
because anything that has happened, he's had no contact. So they don't know that he did this.
Sure.
They haven't heard anything. And
because the last thing that is that Tishbeer says, yeah, he's a little bit dodgy, but he's going to cooperate.
Right.
And so then the aunt's like, oh, okay. And then that's where they go from there. So possibly.
And he, they didn't stop the exercise. The exercise was moving right ahead, even after he said this. So, that tells me that, yes, they're going to do something to make this exercise stop. Otherwise, it is the alternate history show that we didn't expect.
Right.
But at the same time, I think that's how they keep him in the game. He goes back. He continues to be working for Edel. They feed him misinformation, and he feeds it back to his people. And all in exchange for getting Annette out. Because now, his people have now threatened Annette, and that's why he freaked.
Right.
When Tishbeer threatened Annette, I think that broke him. And I think that's going to be where he's going to go, you know what, I'm going to do what I have to do.
Right. So is he going to end up being a triple agent, which would be great? Would be
that's what I'm thinking.
By thinking he's going to be a double agent to be back to be an East. I'm just teasing. So we can just
either that or the Russians could grab him.
Oh, sure. Yeah, imagine that.
There's that possibility. But I kind of doubt it. I have a feeling that Edel's people are going to grab him before the border, and that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of hell breaking loose, and then in the last minute we're going to find out that they're going to use him, allow him to stay on the base, not let anybody know that he's a mole, that they know he's a mole, yet at the same time he knows that he's, feeding back the information in an effort to save his mother and Annette.
Sure.
Especially if Lorna ditches.
Yes.
Because then he doesn't have his people on the inside that are looking out for him.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot. That's a pretty good theory. I like that a lot, actually. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens.
And because when Tishbeer speaks and says, you think you're the only source, there's hundreds of you. Either that is Tishbeer just bluffing and playing the game, or that's actually true, because they even made an allusion, or they talked about it in one of the early Shazi meetings, that they have many people out there, that they've got secretaries and other people that are there. That Kolibri was just the one guy that was closest. So
we thought Edel's secretary was one.
Right.
I'm still not convinced she's not.
Yeah, me neither. Or either she's a spy for the West
She could be
German
Russian.
intelligence.
She could be Russian, American. Any of them.
Right. Or she could be German too. I mean, she could be like their intelligence agency spy on NATO.
Maybe she's there from the French chocolatiers who are trying to get the German chocolate recipes, and this turns into a sequel to Willy Wonka, or a prequel because of when it is.
No, it would be a sequel, wouldn't it be?
I don't know. My head just exploded.
you Oompa Loompa yourself?
I did.
You assaulted yourself. That's what you did.
It would be a sequel. Oh, now we're talking.
They CGI Gene Wilder in there and he's singing. It would be great.
And he'll get to do the line when he pulls up. Pardon me, boy.
Yes.
This is the Chattanooga station. Yeah.
With an Oompa Loompa at his side. That would be great.
Oh, now it's all coming together. It's all happening right now, Chris. This is my dream.
While what other good 80s song can we have is Aha 80s? Aha could play. Take on Me.
Right. You know what I just heard on the radio? They have a new song coming out. And they were acting like, wow, Aha is a new song. It's like, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
At least.
It can't be good. There's no chance. It's Take on Me, the Walker version.
Yeah, one every 30 years is a rough sell.
Yes. I really thought they were going to pull Golden Earring out for this episode. I think Golden Earring would have been better.
That would have been fantastic.
That would have been a great, like, when it first started, I was kind of hoping, I'm like, oh man, Golden Earring would be good. And then it started, I'm like, it wasn't Golden Earring, but I was really kind of hoping still it would translate into that, because I think Twilight Zone would have been way better at that point in time than White Wedding. Even though White Wedding is a great 80s song.
I loved it, but yeah, that would have made sense. Okay, I got one more ironic thing as we record this. A thing just popped up on my screen here from an artist that we know. It has a picture of that Aha video of Take on Me.
Yeah.
And it says it was 30 years ago today that this video premiered.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
That's funny. So I still love it. It's one of my favorite guilty pleasure songs. So.
Yeah, that's one of those. It's awful, and every time it's on, like, you can't help but try to sing it, and you like that video.
Well, I think back then the videos made the songs. I mean, there were a lot of bad 80s songs that were huge because of the video. So
yeah, well, that's not how it is now. Now there's very few music
good
videos. Good songs, but very few music videos, and they're just garbage, I think. I haven't seen a good one. The only good one I can think of in the last, 10 years was the Raconteurs' Steady As She Goes. You ever see that one?
Yes.
The one where they're in the soapbox derby, and I'm like, this is a fantastic video.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of 10 years because, there were some good, early Foo Fighters ones where they just make fun of themselves.
That was about it, though.
Learning to Fly was good. There's some other ones. I don't know. I liked Everlong. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, man.
That's 20 years ago. That's amazing by itself. There, it's like, huh? How long is that? So that wasn't yesterday when they sang that song?
Yeah, right. 30 years yesterday. It all mushes together.
Dave Grohl's my age, but that's okay. No problem. We're good. I'm okay with that.
Isn't that the worst when you realize that? They're like, Dave Grohl fell and broke his hip. He's in his, late 40s, and you go, what? Ah, damn.
Well, you know what's even scarier is
we're going to go see. Yeah, Paul McCartney.
He just did 2 straight hours at Lollapalooza in 100-degree weather, and he's like 72. Oh, I can't do anything for 2 hours. I can't sleep. I can't sit. I can't do anything 2 hours in a row.
I can't sleep for 2 hours in a row. Yeah, but he's a Beatle, so that makes him superhuman.
Well, he is royalty, so that's true.
How about when they sang "Give Peace a Chance"? That was friggin' dynamite too. Well, I mean, because if you think about it, 83, that's not that long after that song had come out.
Oh, no, not at all. Well, no, Give Peace a Chance was earlier.
Was it?
That was in the early 70s.
Still, I mean, compared to now, that was 10 years before that. We're now talking for us, and people still use that in protest songs. You're talking a 50-year-old song.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's 45 or whatever.
Oh, man, I bet anyone listening to this, the math, their heads are just reeling from the math.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's older than most of the people listening, so they're like, "What? A Beatle? What's that?" So,
oh no.
Yeah, no. I completely forgot that they sang that song because they always seemed to be when they were protesting was going in between English and German. Did you notice that?
Yes.
It's like half of it's in English because they're singing "Give Peace a Chance." I know there's a German version of it because I've heard it, but they didn't sing that. And then their "Make Love Not War," all that stuff and. Some of it was in English, some's in German. I was kind of like, where are they protesting? But I think they were doing it because the Americans were there too. So
right, they were because that's what they were dealing with was the Americans attacking, and they were trying to send their message loud and clear.
Right, and nobody likes the Yankees because they said Yankee go home. I was hoping they would have a picture of Reggie Jackson up there and tear it down, but they didn't. So no, I'm teasing. So. But I remember when that stuff happened. I mean, I remember the whole South Korea thing, and I remember there being the nuclear protests.
Yep. Oh, I remember all that stuff.
You were in high school. I think I was in high school at this time. I was still, I think, a junior or senior. So, I mean, I remember that stuff pretty vividly.
Well, yeah, you would have graduated in what, 84?
84. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you would have been a junior, roughly.
Right.
And I would have been a freshman when all this was going down.
we're two idiots sitting in the suburbs like, hey, what's Germany? And
right. We're sitting there like, is there a new Madonna video? I don't really like the music, but I like when she dances around in her underwear. I'm a teenager.
What's the follow-up to Material Girl? What can we see? Michael Jackson. I mean, Thriller was about to come out, so.
Yeah, right. Ooh, I wonder if they're going to get into that next season. All of a sudden, like, every episode is just Thriller. Because that's how it was, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Janet.
You couldn't walk down the street without hearing something from that album.
Oh, no. It had like 8 top number 1 hits or something.
Right. It was crazy.
Like, how many songs can you get off of that? So it's like.
Crazy, man.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, Thriller as the song wasn't even popular until like 85 because Billie Jean and Beat It weren't popular for so long. I mean, Billie Jean came out, it was like the number 1 song for 6 months. It's like, it was a great song, but you're like, oh my gosh. So
yeah, it was forever. It felt like 2 years solid of that one album. That doesn't happen.
Well, no, but it's different now too. I mean, it's also just the whole video thing. I mean, I think it would have died if they had not done the Thriller.
Right. I do.
The album like another 6 months.
I agree with you. I think the video, it was a perfect storm for Michael Jackson at that point.
Well, yeah, videos were huge. I mean, MTV was gigantic. It was all about the video. It didn't matter how much it cost. Everybody wanted to have a cool video.
Yeah.
Because record companies had money to burn, so they burned it doing videos. I mean, remember all that stuff?
They gave it all to David Lee Roth.
Like to go back to 80s animation. Well, they did, but I mean, they did that all that Cars video. Yes, did To Leave It? They did like 100 videos or something to it.
Remember? Yeah, right. Remember that?
I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh, do you have nothing better to do with your time but to make like 50 different videos and to show them every 10 minutes and see what's the difference between 1 and 2 and 3?
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't even good. It's not like they were inventive. They were just kind of stupid, and they just did them. And and then the obligatory, we have to film something in a bathroom because we don't really know what else to film. That they ran out of stuff. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesomely bad, but it is awesome. So
yeah, that should be the show. Hey, remember when MTV showed music videos?
Oh yeah,
because they don't anymore.
Like you said, it's a dying breed, and it just is something different. So I mean, there were some. They used to, they would hit those songs and they would come out and they would play them like every hour. I mean, I remember being in college and that was on all the time. Because you wanted to see videos. You wanted to see White Wedding. I don't know if you remember as a kid, what was it on Channel 44 or something? Was that one show that played videos in the afternoon?
Which one?
It was like a dance. It was like a show. There was one. It was like on 32 or 44. I can't remember.
Not Dance Party USA.
No, it was on like every afternoon for like a couple hours.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
I can't remember what it was. And it was here in Chicago.
But it had music videos interspersed.
Right. And it was like always White Wedding, always When the Bullet Hits the Bone.
Yeah.
Like Golden Earring.
Yes, all the time.
It was great because, number one, that's a great song. That Golden Earring song is fantastic. I love it. I mean, I remember just driving around and listening to that song. But, that was all they did. And then they'd show a couple of new videos and you'd be like, hey, what's this? And, some of the old David Bowie videos from the early 80s, those were good. Like Ashes to Ashes. That's a great video.
Oh, yeah. Bowie had some great stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, hey, this is turning into an 80s reboot overdrive.
Yeah, we're going to actually wrap it up because we got one more to do.
Yes, we do. So
I'll wrap it up. You can find past episodes of this and all the other 80s reboot fun and all of our podcasts at our website, which is southgatemediagroup.com. There is a button on there for 80s Reboot Overdrive. There's also a button just for this show. So if you go, I just want to go through the old episodes, right there. And Hoff We Trust has its own button on the homepage now. So we're legit. Too legit to quit. That's
90s. Sorry, we can't.
Is that 90s?
That's 90s, I think. So
I was in the ballpark.
We're close. 80s, 90s, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
That's all a long time ago. So
yeah, it all bleeds together. It's within my lifetime. It's really all I look for.
Or that you had knowledge of. So
that's right. Well, I actually go back much deeper. So like I saw Duck Soup was going to be on tonight. And I was like, yay! And like I'm sure there aren't many people my age that even know what that is at this point.
Well, you know what? Our age would know it because we didn't have cable, so we watched what we could watch, and that was on Channel 9 all the time.
But I mean, you take like Edward, who's 15, he'll have never even heard of it.
Groucho Marx, he have no idea. And he's missing out because that was
funny.
Comedy gold. Oh, it was unbelievable. So
I mean, big fan of that. All right. So anyway, you can find our past episodes. Follow me on Twitter at rsouthgate. Follow the company at SMG Pods. Follow 80s Reboot at 80s Reboot. And Chris, you are at
Blue Box Cafe 176 on Twitter and Blue Box Cafe on Facebook.
Yes, and all this stuff is on Facebook too. Either look up 80s Reboot Overdrive or just go to Southgate Media Group. We have all the links and everything there too. And I think that's
Zelda too. Awesome.
Yeah, I wish talking about the 80s we could talk Zelda.
We could. That would be great.
So that's it. I'm done. What else do we have to say?
Auf Wiedersehen.